Hi, my name's Reed Aubin, and I grew up here on the Quimper Peninsula. I moved away, went to college, came back, moved away again, and came back ultimately in 2013. And when I got back, I got a job at North Olympic Salmon Coalition as program manager for education, volunteers, and outreach. And it was one of the best jobs I've ever had. Wonderful colleagues, top-level community partners, great students I got to work with, excellent volunteers, just a fabulous community where I also got to learn a lot about the natural environment of the North Olympic Peninsula, especially the waterways, but ultimately all my knowledge of the natural world just expanded and blossomed in that job. Ultimately, I felt like my place was back in the classroom, and I took the opportunity to take a job at Chimicum schools as a high school teacher, and then now I'm at Port Townsend High School. My earliest memory of wild Olympic salmon was running through the dark along a path in the rainy woods that was lined by candles, running toward a big Chautauqua tent where some fabulous thing was happening on stage. And just having a sense of wonder and awe and mystery and excitement about this mysterious salmon festival that was happening. The salmon festival was really dear to my heart because it had made such an impact on me as a young person. And another early memory that I have from wild Olympic salmon was being at the Hadlock Library and being disappointed because I had not come in first place in the competition that was for the watershed trading cards. I was very cross and upset and jealous of the first place winners. The legacy of wild Olympic salmon is multifaceted in that they did incredible work with volunteers on the rivers, actually in hip waders, making technical hatchery equipment out of 55-gallon drums, or you have to hear from them directly, but this is my imagination that it was sort of a Wild West, community-based, grassroots, amazing thing that people just figured out how to do. But at the same time, as they were restoring the runs on Snow Creek and Salmon Creek and then bringing them back to Chimicum Creek, they were creating culture or creating the opportunities for community members to explore ways to make meaning out of the natural world and out of our relationship to it, and to create the dispositions among ourselves as inhabitants of this environment to really put our inhabitation here as an essential part of our culture and really think deeply about what that means and engage with it directly. And that's a challenge that I think is still before us. It's still something that I aspire to, is to live here more directly as a steward and as a part of who I am is embedded in the landscape as a reciprocal relationship, being nourished by the landscape, but also having a responsibility to take care of where we are. And I think that there's a cultural dimension to that that is really important and that's carried on forward in NOSC's education work and volunteer stewardship work. And that definitely came from wild Olympic salmon. Another thing that wild Olympic salmon did that I think we see in a different form today was outreach and connection with local tribes. And during the wild Olympic salmon years, it was during the same time of a real resurgence and a renaissance of tribal culture on the North Olympic Peninsula and really throughout the entire Northwest. The canoe journeys were restarting, and wild Olympic salmon gave an opportunity for non-Indian folks to be engaged with projects that were in harmony with those types of initiatives, and also to be able to witness some of that resurgence and invite tribes to come and share their knowledge about salmon and their traditions about salmon at the salmon festivals and in various educational programs. And now we can see that North Olympic Salmon Coalition has taken that legacy even a step further, because we're now working in professional collaboration with tribes as part of the standard practices for what NOSC does day in and day out. Any project involves collaboration with tribal partners in a serious and professional way. And all of it really responds to the ultimate treaty rights. If you look at the curriculum that the tribes have put forth from time immemorial, it's on the public state website, they focus on awareness of tribal culture and tradition, but the most important aspect is sovereignty and self-determination and respect for treaty rights. And what NOSC does is directly in line with that legacy of treaty rights. What NOSC is doing is engaging professionally in a way that increases the resource base and the cultural base as well, but also the economic base of tribes. And that is honorable work to be doing. So Wild Olympic salmon really set the groundwork for a lot of that collaboration with tribes, at least at the community level, but NOSC has really taken it on and professionalized some of those working relationships. Finn, the migrating salmon, I believe was built in 1989, although I may have to check this. And so, wow, that's a long time ago, 31 years old, and still an incredible resource that travels around, is picked up by various people. Various organizations rent Finn. I think every kid that has grown up in this peninsula has been inside Finn at some event or others and remembers it, and there's a great longevity to it. It's really a great example of an iconic piece of art that was really well designed, well built, and Finn has been contributing to restoration in Washington. Actually, I believe Finn went to Washington, D.C. once. I mean, Finn has really led the way for a lot of us, and I hope we can continue to follow in Finn's footsteps.